So by the time you're watching this video, the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League pre-alpha would have been over. One thing a lot of people are still, talking about right now is the fact that the game is a shooter. Some have said, it probably would have been better if Rocksteady went ahead and made a game that, was in light of some of the more successful, or I would say critically acclaimed titles that they've made. So along the lines of Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight. If you throw in Arkham Origins, they also had a hand in that, even though it was an indirect hand. That game was made from them giving Origins or giving all of their assets and their code to Warner Brothers Montreal, who then used it to write a story that fit within the world in Origins. Now, when you think about all of this, I went ahead and brought this footage because this is from 3 years ago that was shown at a DC Fandom event. And this is where a lot of people got to see the game for the first time when it was unveiled. And even from this time, we already knew that it was some kind of a, shooter game, because already you could see the, the Suicide Squad members already using guns, Harley Quinn, Deadshot and Captain Boomerang and so on and so forth. And yes, this is a high quality trailer, but, you could see them, carefully displaying and using, these abilities to showcase what it is that they were going to be doing. And so I don't think there's any surprise here, especially when a lot of people had already seen Marvel's Avengers and that was going through a rough patch. I mean, think about 2020 where Marvel's Avengers was. It was about a year out and it had gone through so many, challenges that people wanted the game to be something more than the developers, were delivering. And so seeing this game, a lot of people kind of put on the blinders and were like, no, we don't think it's going to be a shooter, when in reality, it is a shooter. Now, one thing you have to take into account is not only is this game a shooter, you have to go back and look at a lot of context as to where this game came from. And this game comes from a place of the leaders of Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment, that's those who are in charge of the gaming arm, them wanting to pursue the games as a service model. Let me help you frame this stuff. If you don't know, David Zaslav is, kind of in charge of, say, all of this stuff, but he has a vision to continue to, follow the monetization arm where things are, carrying this aspect of having live service elements and, having extra aspects to monetize them after a game has already been developed, right? However, before he even came into, taking the reins of the Warner Media Entertainment, there was already somebody who was already moving this direction. This person took over, the 11 development studios right after the release of Arkham Knight. And this person is in charge of these gaming studios. So when David Zaslav came in to, after the merger and stuff, a lot of people who were in charge of different areas in Warner Media, basically left their positions or were moved around. Only this person stayed in their division, the person in charge of the 11 gaming studios. And since then, that person has already, in other articles said that they wanted to follow the Ubisoft model. And as Zaslav looked at their books and saw that they were profitable, especially with games like Mortal Kombat 11, the Injustice titles, which were monetized games, even looking at, say, probably the balance sheet from the Arkham games and making the Arkham VR games and all these other titles that just continue to bring in money for Arkham, and in other projects within that particular cycle, the Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War games. Remember, when this person actually took the reins, that's after we got Shadow of War and its Time Savers store that eventually got taken down after all the backlash, right? But even though it got taken down, something like that would have already made more money per every $60 that was sold for every copy. So this person already had a way of turning in money, so they kept their jobs and they were probably given the green light to go ahead and open up this whole thing. So seeing Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League follow this model is confirmation of what I'd already suspected a long time ago, that this was the direction things were going to be going. So when I first saw Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, I said to myself, this game wants to follow Tom Clancy's The Division, because many of you may or may not know The Division 1 is Ubisoft's fastest selling game ever. It came out of the block and it hit the market and the shelves and it disappeared very fast. As to the longevity of the game, that was only followed by the hardcore Division fans, of which you can probably call me one of those at the time. And I can tell you a lot about that game. And a lot of companies saw that success. They saw the success of PUBG and Fortnite. These three games, they showed that there was a blueprint to be able to take these video games and monetize them however you want. In the case of Fortnite and PUBG, they were free to actually play or enter. In the case of The Division, they were full price games that had the live service model. So seeing Suicide Squad coming into the space, bringing a full priced, live service game should not be anything surprising, but actually tell you that this is where the market has decided to be going. However, gamers are going to be the ones who decide if the market stays this way or if the market changes course. And I think that's probably the very best thing about it, because, you go on the internet, you see people talking about, this and that. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, it's the gamers who actually get to call the shots. You are the ones that actually dictate what it is that you want to see. Now, we even heard about the Wonder Woman game, and some are saying that it might have some elements, from some of the leaks. I don't believe any leaker, to be honest. The last time I listened to what a leaker said, they literally said somebody close to Ubisoft Massive had, said that they had no plans of making a Division 3 game. Some of you who may follow my content, I have a whole channel based on the Division, and I've been speculating about a third Division game for years. And they came out with this particular so-called leak, and then next thing you know, just 4 or 5 months after that, Ubisoft announces that they're already, working on a Division 3 game. So anything leakers say, I just, basically I don't even take it anymore. Not with a grain of salt. No, they're not even getting my grain of salt. But Wonder Woman is going to be a single-player game. I mean, that's exactly what it is. However, it seems like it's going to be a single-player game with elements of extra monetization along the line. I think they would have probably gone with the same route as Shadow of War, but because that got a lot of pushback, they might do something Ubisoft-like, which is how they do in the Assassin's Creed games. So beware, and don't be surprised when you see things like, say, some skin store or whatnot, going on. Just, let it just be a thing that is at the back of your mind when you're looking at a game like that. Whether or not you want to support it, that is your prerogative. But like I've said, at the end of the day, this is how things are probably going to be dialed into. When we get to see more gameplay of Suicide Squad, I mean, not like we get to see more. We've already seen a lot. If you look very carefully, they've already put out 10, 15 minutes of gameplay here and there. They put out some in the PlayStation reveal. This was, I think it was earlier this year. We also got to see some other gameplay as well that highlighted some parts of the story. So we already kind of know exactly what it is we're looking forward to. This is not going to be, something that is shocking or surprising. If you go on YouTube, you can just see him here, on different channels, and even on the Suicide Squad channel, you just see a bunch of stuff about Suicide Squad. So it's not necessarily something that's hidden from the public. So the one thing that right now that is hidden is how the public is going to pretty much, go with this. Could it be that by February, some people might be more open to it or not? But, that's a question that gamers are going to answer along the line. But I thought I'd go ahead and make this video and kind of talk about the context and talk about a few things that surround this. I mentioned this in past videos, and this is kind of the direction things are going to be going as long as gamers choose that it goes this way. But I already see gamers, sharing their opinions and talking about things differently. We'll see how things eventually land. In my opinion, I think it's a game that I'm probably going to be playing. I'm looking forward to what the game has to offer. In terms of excitement, you guys know I don't show any excitement about video games. Hardly am I excited anyways for many games until I actually do play them. And so we're going to see how things fall in place. All right. Talk to you guys in another video. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.